and also hearing from other mayors about what that commitment means for our residents and how we plan for our futures. I'm delighted to be joined by the chairman of Washington DC's Food Policy Council and extraordinary chef Spike Mendelson, whom you hear from in a second. The co-chair of the Food Policy Council for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mayor Soglin, and I have worked together the last couple of years to work with our fellow mayors to share best practices around food policy. We're also joined by the vice mayor from Milan, Anna Scavuzzo, who will talk to us about Milan's leadership in food policy and her international reach to our mayors. We hope also to be joined by Mayor Catherine Pugh of Baltimore, Maryland, who will also discuss our leader and CEO, Tom Cochran, who has been just extraordinary in putting a robust agenda in front of America's mayors around all issues, from how we deal with policing in our cities to how we're focused on affordable housing and how we work together in a bipartisan way to move America's cities forward. Our president, Mitch Landrieu of New Orleans, Louisiana, has just been extraordinary in expressing how American mayors can work together on the issues that face our country, especially at the local level when we don't or may not have as much movement on the federal level. So I'm pleased to announce that we will sign on to the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. This is an international pact, of course, and it is a commitment to a diverse set of goals and targets that will lead to more equitable and sustainable urban food systems in cities around the world. In addition to signing the pact, we will also have the U.S. Conference of Mayors Food Policy Task Force that Mayor Soglin and I chair formally adopt the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact as our guiding framework for the work that we do in this important committee. And while we celebrate city signing on today, I also want to acknowledge that several of our colleagues have been longtime leaders in this work, including Mayor Pugh and Mayor de Blasio of New York City. And a few other cities signed on last year, including Minneapolis and New Haven. So in Washington, D.C., this pact will provide us with a framework for international collaboration and help us lower our carbon footprint. And many cities around our nation are committed to making sure that the United States achieves its commitments to the Paris Climate Accords. We know that in so doing, we will improve the health of women, children, and families, bring an end to food insecurity, and increase the availability of healthy food and food options in underserved communities. I am confident that as we do so often and on so many issues, we will learn so much from each other as we work towards these goals. So together we will recruit more cities to join us also in this work. So let me now introduce Spike, or Chef Spike, as we affectionately just call him, to talk a little bit about what this means for us, and then we'll hear from Mayor Soglin and Vice Mayor Scavuzzo.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Chef.
How are we doing? Sorry I didn't bring the pizza. Next time. I'm a local chef and the chairman of the very first DC Food Policy Council. I'd like to thank Mayor Bowser for inspiring our city and taking the lead on bettering our food system here in the district for all 8 wards. Now more than ever, our political climate is at risk, and it troubles me to see food security, food equity, and food education always taking the biggest hits. It's clear to me that the challenge and the opportunity we have is bettering our food system lies within our cities. This should be a common goal for our communities, and especially a bipartisan effort by our elected officials. It's important that we work together to reverse the backwards narrative that food should be a privilege instead of a human right. We are thrilled that Mayor Bowser is representing DC and signing the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact and is also co-chairing the U.S. Conference of Mayors Food Policy Task Force. The DC Food Policy Council was launched by Mayor Bowser in 2016. The council consists of our Food Policy Director, Elaine Sadowski, which is right over here, and 12 other key members representing all 8 wards. We are a coalition of stakeholders and government representatives who come together to identify regulatory burdens on the local food economy. In a very short amount of time, the District of Columbia has never seen such collaborative efforts between government and community in achieving our food goals identified in our Sustainable DC plan. We have a significant input on new legislation supporting reducing food waste, incentivizing grocers on low food access areas, healthier and tastier school meals in DC schools, very important one, one of my favorites, and opening up DC land for agriculture. Through the Food Policy Council, we're studying our local food economy and putting more funding than ever towards healthy food access. We also believe in driving major policy and community engagement within the city and have seen positive effects. We've had 1,400 attendees to our 8 food policy meetings. We've had organic growth of 28 working groups that are all dedicated to bettering different parts of our food system. We all have a part to play to achieve a sustainable food system, and as a business owner in DC, I do my part by reducing food waste and teaching other chefs to do the same. Pacts like this help us amplify the impact of individuals, businesses, cities, and even the whole U.S. in order to make real change. The Pact will help us as a city commit to DC Food Policy Council's initiatives. We look forward to supporting the Pact and learning from one another while leveraging all collaborative experiences in order to create a more equitable and sustainable food system across the world. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Bowser, for your leadership and dedication and commitment to making community food systems issues a priority in your administration and tenure. I want to offer a similar appreciation to Chef Spike Mendelson for bringing an innovative, on-the-ground practitioner's perspective to issues cities face in creating a more just, equitable, and sustainable local food system. I'd like to echo Mayor Bowser's remarks on the need for more municipal action to support and catalyze the work of our residents within cities and across the nation, and I might say across nations. When local administrations prioritize strategies to reduce and eradicate food insecurity, they foster community power and create opportunities for residents to lead and make active decisions which change and affect their own food systems. To this end, adopting the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact provides a guiding framework for this task force to implement policy and programmatic strategies on a range of food system issues. It also allows municipalities throughout the countries participating in task force to coordinate efforts with one another in a unified fashion, creating a roadmap to achieving common goals and metrics of success in the 7 areas that Mayor Bowser's mentioned. I'd like to take a minute or two to recognize some of the work in our own community. Just this week, the Madison Food Policy Council announced the 5th cycle of our seed grants, which provide $50,000 annually to fund proposals from community-based organizations that have developed new projects and initiatives to address food insecurity within the city. Coupled with the city's Healthy Retail Access Program, which provides funding to new and existing food retailers and community organizations to create healthier food options and lower access barriers within communities, we are developing a strong platform of programs to address food access and insecurity. I'm very excited to see this task force adopt the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact as a guide for its work and look forward to leading this work in conjunction with Mayor Bowser and the dedicated staff of participating cities and the Conference of Mayors. In conclusion, let me just make one observation. I've spent a good deal of time in Baltimore, Washington, DC, and several years ago when our daughters were much younger, several days in Milan. One of the great exciting things that I have done in every one of these cities is to explore and find locally owned restaurants where I had no idea what I would find inside. Well, the experience has been marvelous. I recommend it to all, and in conclusion, it is such a great step forward to make sure that that kind of food access is now something that we are going to ensure is universal for all the residents and all the visitors to our respective communities. Thank you.
So Mayor, it sounds like you're proposing a field trip to Milan.
Well,
And I like to volunteer to be on that excursion, where we're gonna learn best practices. So it's my pleasure to invite now Vice Mayor Scavuzzo, who is joining us from Milan to talk about what the Pact and the international embrace of the Pact means for how we make food policy in our cities. Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Good morning and thank you. Thank you very much for this introduction and also for all the work you have been done till now. I am appointed by the Mayor of Milano, Beppe Sala, for food policy and to promote the Pact all over the world. I'm very honored also because it's a very important goal and a very important challenge we are facing together. The city of Milan is chair of the Pact and is honored to be here to find the interest of American cities in Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. As you said before, the Pact is the first global agreement of mayors in food policies. Food is a crucial issue for sustainable development and for cities is a strategic entry point to tackle the challenges of your common future. The Pact now counts until today 161 cities and now 163. Welcome to Madison and Wahsington DC in the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact group of cities. The Milan is a global commitment for the sustainable development of the city and cities of the countries. The Pact was launched during the exposition and Universal Exhibition. We said, feeding the planet, energy for life. And also nowadays, this is our effort. More than 100 mayors in 2015 came to Milan for the signing ceremony, and since then, global attention has been growing continuously, reaching very important momentum during every annual gathering. In Rome, at the FAO in 2016, last year in Valencia, in Spain, and also next year, and I will tell you where we will be. Moreover, thanks to the Pact, cities engage in fruitful dialogue with international organizations such as FAO bodies, Foundation, international urban networks. It's a very important network all over the world. The Pact is the process of getting connected to the global agenda for international debates and negotiations about new urban agenda, about climate change and its connection between food and agriculture, and also between food, nutrition, and health. 2 years ago, I was in Senegal at the Dakar Forum that triggered the informational process of regionalization inside the Pact. Different West African cities of the Pact produced a statement acquiring the recommendation of the Pact, helping them to keep on working on African-specific challenges. In Europe, a strong process is ongoing inside the main European city network, Eurocities, and Milan is leading a task force, especially for food policy. Today, I think I witnessed the fruitful process started by the city of Baltimore, winner of the Milan Pact Awards in 2016, and I think that you can work together with a lot of cities, and especially with American signatory cities that now in your country are 12. Austin, Baltimore, Chicago, Miami, Minneapolis, New Haven, New York, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, West Sacramento, and now Madison and Washington. I invite you all to keep on working on the Pact, favor knowledge transfer and practice exchange, and participate to this new global arena. The next important date for the Milan Pact is next September in Tel Aviv for the first annual gathering and next Milan Pact Award. I think that we can meet there to make a step forward all together. Thank you very much, and have a good job on your cities.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'm delighted that Mayor Pugh from Baltimore has joined us. And as I mentioned earlier, Baltimore has already signed on to the Pact and has really invested in these initiatives. And I want to invite Mayor Pugh to join us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Let me just say, we take this work very seriously. I see Holly is here. We have a food policy director who really focuses in on these issues. And in fact, I know oftentimes you would hear the term food deserts, and we've changed that terminology to health food priority areas, because we've made a difference in a lot of the work that has already taken place. And there are a lot of key findings. We have our key findings that we want to share with everyone, and hopefully Holly will be able to pass that out, where we've done mapping all across the city so that we can identify those priority areas that we need to address. And I just wanted to acknowledge just a few of the things that we're doing besides, looking at the mapping, but expanding summer meal programs. We have 586 sites across the city, which is important. And after school meals, 268 additional sites. Food pantries, 425. And then senior meal, and we always have to be very conscious of making sure that our seniors are eating on a regular basis. And so we do that regularly, and I'm sure most of our cities do. But farmers markets have been expanded in areas that you probably would not even think about across Baltimore. And urban farms, 23 additional urban farms around the city. And then providing grants for community groups and organizations to access opportunities and to create opportunities. But I also wanted to mention something, Holly, that we changed this year. When schools close, oftentimes we don't think about those young people who come to school on a regular basis to have a meal or to even eat after school. And so when schools are closing, I would urge every city to think about those children who are homeless, the ones who come to school every day and depend on a meal. So what we did, Madam Mayor, is for any time a school closes, we open up our rec centers and we make sure that the meals are there for those young people. So I'd encourage other cities to do the same. Please think about those young people that often get neglected. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'd just like to thank everyone, especially Mayor Pugh, for your concluding remarks and that very important message that children who need food support during the school year, that does not stop when the vacations and the holidays come. And that's just really critical for all of us. We will now, are we adjourning or are we going to sign? We're now going to sign and then we'll adjourn into the next room.